All right, so usually I do only upload like one video per day. I was just trying my hardest and trying my best to kind of keep the content very concise for the most part for the channel, because it would either be a video, a stream, it would be a video by itself, no stream. But I was too giddy, too excited, and too pumped up to not like talk about this, especially since like if you guys do watch the channel, or if you guys just been in and out of the channel, or if you guys are here now and you guys want to go back into other archived videos of my channel, you guys would definitely know that like I love this archetype so much. Like this is probably like my all-time favorite archetype when it comes to just like anything regarding Yu-Gi-Oh ever. Like this is the archetype, or this is the deck that I used for like my very first tournament. This is the deck that I used for pretty much what even spared the interest of or getting into Yu-Gi-Oh on a very technical and competitive level. And this is the first deck I actually built with my own money within that context as well. So like I'm very happy to finally say that Blackwings are getting more support. And I did read, this is not like a live reaction, this is not like my first time seeing it. Like definitely for the most part, like I would 100% say that when it comes to like the deck, I kind of wanted to read it beforehand so I can have definitely an idea of how I wanted to go about like implementing these cards into a deck strategy. And I have some pretty interesting ideas for all of you guys. Like again, like deck testing and synergy definitely need to be a thing, especially when it comes to ratios and all that good stuff. But for the most part, like I hope you guys enjoy it. First things first, we are going to read through all the cards and potentially talk about their implications and what they could potentially do for the Blackwing strategy within as a whole. Because I think this is really something good, and I do like certain aspects of cards that what they've done with certain cards as well, on top of like level. But we'll talk about all of that. So first things first, we're gonna go through the first card. It is called Blackwing Zonda, the Timely Knight. Cool, super cool name, super cool artwork, all that good stuff. You can only use one of the second and third effects of this card name per turn. You can only and only once that turn. So it's a hard once per turn. So like you only, even if you have multiple copies, you can only use the one card of each of the effects, the second and third one, once per turn, and only that turn, right? So you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except synchro monsters. So if this monster is on the board, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except synchro monsters, which I don't believe is too hard of a lock, because as long as this card is on board, you just can't special summon synchro monsters. But the thing that makes this card beautiful is just the level. It's a level 6 card. I would say just from the first line of the card itself. Well, actually, no. Let's not make any assumptions yet. So let's keep on reading, because I have a lot to say about all the cards, honestly. So number one is you can't special summon anything besides synchro monsters. In my personal opinion, this is not too hard of a lock, because you could just get rid of it in other ways. You can just synchro summon with the card on top of that. So number two, if this card is normal or special summon, you can target one monster on the field, return it to the hand. Amazing already. I wish it said send one monster from the field, or just I wish the effect basically didn't target, because there's a lot of cards that can still get over being targeted. But like still nonetheless, like you get this card out, you get to throw it back. Like you get to bounce back a card. Or my fault, not just any card. You bounce back a monster card from like field back into hand. That's really good. So effect number one is not too bad, especially since when it comes to Blackwings, there's now multiple different ways you can normal or special summon a monster, which is really good. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon one level 5 or higher Blackwing monster from your hand or deck, then take damage equal to its attack. Now, hear me out. This card I wouldn't say is a combo starter, because for the most part, obviously, like if you hard draw this card, it gives you issues in certain scenarios, because you wouldn't be able to special summon him without the assistance of a Blackwing card or maybe another monster potentially. So I would say ratio wise, if you want to utilize this card as like a comeback strategy, I would say one or two would probably be best. Um, on top of that, you can definitely now. You could probably use this as like a call by the grave bait if your opponent feels like the level 5 that you're gonna bring out from deck is a bit too much. But personally, like this particular card, I think it's a really great card. I don't think it's a cluttered card. It definitely has its use in a pure Blackwing strategy. If you do hybrid the build a little bit, I still don't even feel like the card is that restrictive. You could definitely run this in a Blackwing deck or a hybrid built deck with like synchros and links and even XCs, and this card could still potentially still be viable. So I would definitely say like already great start. So it's a good level 6. It's an amazing level 6. Easy to synchro into full armor master along with the new Blackwing monster, synchro monster as well. You can get yourself a Baron because again, there's a lot of like level 4 tuner Blackwing monsters just surfacing the game now. So that's great. That's already amazing. So next card. Oh, my fault, dude. My fault. There we go. So personally, I've been advocating for this for a very long time, but I personally would have said that Blackwings needed a field spell, but this card is 1,000 times better than a field spell, and you'll understand why later. But we'll talk about it when we're building strategies. But we got a lot of cards to get through. So the next card is a continuous spell card called Black Feather Whirlwind. Once per turn, you can special summon a dark synchro monster from your extra deck. You can target one of your Blackwing monsters or Blackwinged with a lower attack that is banished or in your graveyard. Special summon it. So first things first, you can once per turn you could special summon a dark synchro monster from your extra deck. You can target one of your Blackwing monsters or Blackwinged dragon with a lower attack that is banished or in your graveyard. Special summon it. That is amazing. So if I'm reading this correctly, at first it does look like it means like any synchro monster, but I don't think it's any synchro monster because that would be a bit too broken. Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think they mean any synchro monster. Once per turn, you can special summon a dark synchro monster or monsters from your extra deck. You can target. That's interesting. What? I don't. Once per turn, you can special summon a dark synchro monster or monsters from your extra deck. You can target one of your Blackwing. Okay, you see, no. So, okay, so like I said, like it's not. You can't special summon any dark monster from your extra deck. No, that's too broken. That's too broken. That's way too broken. Yes, you can target one of your Blackwinged monsters or Blackwing monsters or Blackwinged dragon with a lower attack that is banished or in your graveyard. Special summon it. So I'm assuming basically with a lower attack that is banished or in your graveyard. Special summon it. Oh, I'm reading the card wrong. Reading failed reading. Once per turn, if I didn't say, my fault, I'm not reading this properly. If you special summon a dark synchro monster, so if you special summon any dark synchro monster from your extra deck, you can target one of your Blackwing monsters or Blackwing dragons with a lower attack that is banished or in your graveyard. Special summon it. Amazing card. Amazing card. Kind of fumbled there with the understanding of it. I for some reason, the if you special summon. I was just reading the once per turn special summon. I don't know why the if you were just completely just going over my head. But again, amazing card. It's a continuous spell. It's an amazing card. So basically, this is the card that we get out to help us recycle. The only issue is this card falls into, unfortunately, the old trap of this falls into the old trap of Black Whirlwind, but Konami already took that into account already in this deck. It's so, like, I'm telling you, like, these new cards synergize with themselves so good. It's not even funny because just like how Black Whirlwind is now searchable because of Simoon, there's another card that actually searches out this card. Then you have the second effect. Once per turn, if a dark monster you control will be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can remove one black feather from this field, from the field instead. So that's amazing. There's so many cards that gets black feathers now from the new and improved Blackwing deck strategy that is actually pretty cracked. Unfortunately, we we still can get banished. We still can get. So I guess if we're dueling against like the only reason like this deck is in the top of my head because I've been messing around with it, but like the level 10 Sword Souls card that can banish one in grave, banish one on field. Zeus, of course, any card that just says completely just send card. But it's nice to have a card effect that protects us from destruction, right? So, okay, so another monster. This monster looks like a Yakuza boss, but Blackwing Avatsu the Connive. Ooh, he's conniving. I like the artwork as well too. So just to, because I'm gonna be talking about ratios. So this card, I would say 1, maybe 2. 2 is a little pushing it, but definitely 1 of this card will be perfect. This, I would argue that 2 or 3 would be nice, but I would say 2 because you don't want the deck to be too cluttery because you got to understand, like, you still need to synchro summon and you don't want your hand to be too cloggy because, like, at the end of the day, like, you already have 3 black whirlwinds. 2 of this card is enough just in case if your opponent does get over it, you'll have another option to get it in the deck. Because I would argue you don't need, like, with the way how the deck is going to work now, you don't really need to hard draw it. Like, with Black Whirlwind, sometimes even if you draw a Black Whirlwind and you have Simoon, at least you could stack the effect. This is not stackable, so I would argue 2 of this is fine. 2 of this is definitely fine. All right, so Blackwing Avatsu the Connive, right? Level 2, beautiful, amazing. Level 2, Dark Wing Beast, traditional tuner, traditional for Black Wings. Okay. So hopefully reading doesn't fumble me a little bit. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. So both effects, simply put, you can use both effects once per turn. Simply put, nothing too crazy, nothing too complicated. The theme of a lot of the cards that we've been getting recently in Yu-Gi-Oh, but is now more so just like you're not able to abuse it. It's only once per card name, so it's a hard once per turn. If you control a Blackwing monster other than Blackwing Avatsu the Connive, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can send this card on the field and one other Blackwing tuner monster from your deck to the graveyard. Mind you, it's not level restrictive. One Blackwing non-tuner monster from your deck to the graveyard, whose total levels equals 8. If you do special summon one Black-winged dragon from your extra deck, also you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for dark monsters. That is a slap on the wrist because we're only going to be predominantly running mostly darks in a Blackwing deck anyway. Even some of the deck ideas I have in my head, those monsters are still dark monsters regardless because I personally believe Blackwings is really cracked now. And you guys will understand when we get into the combo portion of the video, but to give you like a small snippet, like pretty much what you can do is like you can send this card and one more non-tuner, like, yeah, so it's not restrictive, so like it doesn't have to be exactly level. Well, actually no, it is super restrictive because you have to send a level 6 non-tuner Blackwing monster. So you can either send Zidane, or if you want to and you're experimenting with different Blackwing monsters, you can definitely send other ones, but I honestly and personally see no reason why not to send Zidane because Zidane actually gives you a follow-up. And especially since, like, if you banish this card, you can special summon one level 5 or higher monster from your hand or deck. So that's, again, that's really, really good. So my faults on that part, it says non-tuner, not just tuner, because that wouldn't make sense. But you can get yourself a free black-winged dragon that way. And like I said, like, you can't special summon monster for the rest of the turn except for dark monsters. Slap in the wrist, for sure, for sure. Slap in the wrist, 100% sure. All right, next. So we are getting into synchro territory. Blackwingboris the Evil Wind, level 6, Dark Wing Beast, synchro, and tuner. Oh, wait, we forgot to mention one thing. If I was running this in a deck, any type of variant of a Blackwing deck, if this is the case, you know what then? Like, I would run this card at... It really depends on your build. Like, you can't really say what would be the best ratio for this card specifically. Because if you're running multiple Blackwing Dragon, then I would say like you probably want to do one Zidane, one other level 6. If Blackwings have like no, I'm pretty sure Blackwings have decent non. No, yeah, Blackwings do have another decent outside of Sirocco. Blackwings do have another decent level 6 monster as well. Yeah, Blackwings do have another decent level 6 monster as well. I think I'm gonna go through all the cards though. But anyway, yeah. So this card I would argue 2 is good enough. Like if you draw into it, that's great because you can just dump this and then you can go for Blackwing Dragon. And again, like this card, you can banish it so you can get a follow-up play. So that's great. This I would say 1 or 2, but this is definitely a card I could see being at 2. It's searchable with Black Whirlwind as well, so don't forget about that. But like I said, like this card is definitely decent at like 1 or 2. I wouldn't really run more of this. All right. So Blackwingboris, the Evil Wind, level 6, Darkwing Beast, Synchro. It's a tuner as well. And effect is 1 dark tuner plus 1 non-tuner monster. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name each once per turn. Okay, same. It falls in line with everything else. If this card is synchro summoned, you can send 1 Blackwing monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card levels become that monsters. So it's a level modifier, which is really good. Like this is something definitely I would say like Blackwing needs. So this is kind of like a D-long for the Blackwing strategy. And the reason why this is good is you can obviously target the best graveyard card effect card in the Blackwing strategy, which is definitely going to be Zephyros. So you can either target... Wait, hold on. I have to read this properly again. You could send 1 Blackwing monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do this card... Okay, so it doesn't specify it needs to be lower. It can literally be higher or the same. So basically... maybe you do want to run 2 of the Zonda because now you have another target to send another Zonda from like deck to grave. But you have to keep in mind, like you can't Zata. You can't Zata the Connive, and then you can't then Boris the Evil Wind, the Zonda. But I would definitely say, like I said, like if there's other, which I believe there is, but if there are other good level 6 monsters or just any other Blackwing monsters that you can utilize in grave, it will be amazing. Like I can honestly see like Paniki being viable, you know, because at least with Paniki you get to recycle a card back from graveyard to hand. I believe so. So that's the first effect. But like I said, mostly you're probably going to be using this for Zephyros. If you haven't hard draw the Zephyros, then because most people only play the 1 Zephyros anyway, and nobody searches Zephyros out. So you can summon this card, send Zephyros to grave, and then you should be good for like a level 8 synchro play, which is damn near easy enough, right? Great. There's a lot of great level 8 synchro monsters in the game. When this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can banish 1 Blackwing monster from your face-up field or graveyard, special summon the destroyed... This card is so good. So good. The only issue is this card, unfortunately, at the state that it's in, isn't going to be toppling over any predominantly powerful monsters in the game. It's 2400. I can see this card potentially stopping like floaters, like very weaker strategies. I could see it stopping like nothing too powerful in the game right now. Like there's no card that's under 2400 that's really doing anything crazy. And if it is a crazy card in it and is less than 2400, for the most part, like you're not really seeing that card stay on the board. It's either going to be special summon fodder, or it's more so for token fodder. It's getting linked off. Like again, there's just a lot of things that like this, I don't see this card running over that would make this card very effective, or it's a must have. But the second effect is definitely good. The first effect 100% is more so for combo extension. Like I would even argue if they ever ban Steam, this card will be even more like amazing, because then you can send Steam from deck to grave. I don't remember if Steam token effect just... I don't know if Steam instantly gets his token effect if he's just sent to grave. I don't know if it's like it's similar to Paniki or Pinka. I forgot the name of that Blackwing monster, but it's the level 3 tuner Blackwing monster. if the requirement, it needs to be on field to get the token. But like I said, if Steam is ever back into the game, then boom, you get yourself like a free little token, and this card becomes level 3. This I can only see this card being a one of. I don't see any reason why you would run multiple of this card, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't see any reason why you would want to run multiple of this card, because you only get the effect when it's synchro summoned. So again, I wouldn't really say that this is a really viable card to run multiple of. Now we have a counter trap. So I was just talking about this with some of my boys. I really do feel like counter traps are amazing, because a counter trap can only be countered by another counter trap. Like, for that simple philosophy, I just thought counter traps were cool for like the past couple of months. But like, I'm surprised to see that Blackwings are getting a counter trap, right? Like, again, this is like, I don't know, man. I'm just so excited, man. Finally. Stardust, Red Dragon, Morphtronics, like all of these strategies been getting support. Where was my Blackwing support, man? Well, we finally getting it, though. We finally getting it. All right, so let's continue. So we got a counter trap. Black Shadow Swirl. I hope I'm saying that right. I feel like a dummy. But you can use one of the first and second effects of this card's name per turn, and only once that turn. So you can only use effect number 1 or effect number 2. Okay, understandable. When a spell card or a spell or trap is activated, you can remove one black feather counter from your you can remove one black feather counter from your field, negate the activation if you do destroy that card. If you control Blackwinged Dragon, you can set this card from your graveyard to your field, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use one. Okay, so each effect requires setup, because you can only do one of the other. So I would argue this card isn't bad, but you also maybe don't want to see it too early on. I'm not too sure, because I'm trying to deck build in my head as I'm reading the card effects, but it's still pretty hard to really say. Obviously, the first effect is going to be amazing, right? Like, you can remove one from your field, negate the activation if you do destroy it. That's really not bad, though, because I can see this stopping something along the lines of Forbidden Droplet if they don't have the trap to send this cost. I can see this stopping a lot of like annoying spells and traps. You probably stop a Mystic Mine as well. Basically, like, this is like an MST for a slower MST, or it's a slower back row control card, right? And the thing that's good about this card is that it's recyclable, right? So this card is recyclable and searchable, because again, there's another Blackwing card that searches out a lot of these newer cards, which is a must of. So I'm still torn about it. I would say 2 or maybe even 1 of this card wouldn't be too bad, just to end it off, because remember, like, this card is reusable. So 2 is technically 4, 1 is technically 2. So I would say like 2 or 1 of this card is decent enough. The only thing that stopped this card from being god tier is if it said monster effect. Because if this says monster effect, essentially you could stop hand traps, or like you can just use this card, not necessarily for like interruption based cards, because I would feel like that would be the only cards that you would use this for, either interruption based or like, spell cards that helps get your opponent an advantage or gives your opponent an advantage. But if it also was monster effects, I feel like that would have been a nicer way to broaden this card usability when it comes to stopping your opponent activating certain effects, especially if you get this card turn 1, right? So it would have definitely had a wider range of use, but it's okay. I'll take Spell and Trap. Spell and Trap is fine. For the most part, I could definitely see players maybe side decking this card, or at least putting it to 1. 1 in main deck or 2 in main deck, if I'm stretching it. Alright, so yes, another cool looking Blackwing monster. I like the mohawk on this one. Alright, so Blackwing Chamal, the Sandstorm. So level 4, Dark Wing Beast Tuner effect. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. So you can use both effects. So first things first, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Place one Blackwing feather from your deck face up in the spell and trap card zone. Amazing. So we have a level 4 Simoon. Who basically says, and which is great. It synergizes very well because if you have Simoon, you can ditch a dark Blackwing monster from hand. Boom. Add or set or play. My fault. You get to play a black whirlwind face up on field. Then you can normal summon Simoon with his own effect. Activate effect. You can now search out. Oh, I'm wrong. I am wrong. You cannot do that. So, but it's good though. It's still good. It doesn't conflict because the reason why this card is even better for the additional wording of your hand as well. You can ditch this card from hand so you can still get black feather. So if you have Simoon in this card, you're damn near already this is a 2-card combo for the most part. And remember, like, your cards can't get destroyed, but that doesn't mean you can't still get Nibiru. That doesn't still mean you can't get hand trapped. So you got to keep that stuff in mind. But this card is still amazing because it gets you the Black Feather Whirlwind, which every time you synchro summon, you can special summon a Blackwing monster that's banished or in your graveyard, or Blackwing Dragon as well. Then you also have the additional bonus of, like, your cards can't be destroyed by card effect. If a Blackwing synchro monster, if a Blackwing synchro monster or monsters and / or Blackwing Dragon is special summoned to the field while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, target one Blackwing monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and take 700 damage. So this card also helps you recycle. So worst case scenario, I would still say you want your combo starter at 3, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, combo starter Simoon. But the reason why this card now is good, we actually get to put Blizzard in a deck, because Blizzard and Uster, Blizzard is not a bad card. I would still argue, regardless of whatever build of Blackwings you play, if you want to stretch it, 2 Blizzards. If you want to be a bit more tactical and add some utility to the deck to pattern it as best as you can, I would argue 1 Blizzard is enough, because you don't want to see Blizzard too early in game. You want to see it later in game so he could be your monster reborn. So this card is amazing, and it's a must in the Blackwing strategy now, because we have the 2 best Blackwing cards that are unable to be special summoned, Uster and Blizzard. But now with this card, we literally get the opportunity to, first things first, we can add them back to hand to recycle them. That's number 1. Number 2, with Black Feather Whirlwind, as soon as we synchro summon, we could just special summon this card back. Remember, it's once per turn, but we can use this card as another synchro summon, so we can just ditch it in grave and use the second effect all over again. So that's the reason why, like, in my opinion, like, this card is so good. Believe it or not, I would argue you wouldn't want this card at 3 though. In my opinion, I feel like it's a good card, but it's only as good as the Simoon that you play. If you hard normal summon this card, like, you would have to rely on Allure of Darkness, because now I feel like Allure of Darkness is now an even better card in the Blackwing strategy. Yes, everybody would use Allure of Darkness anyway, but, like, I get that, but like I said, like, because now your banish zone is more live, Allure of Darkness becomes an even better card, more so for the fact that, like, if you banish a card, draw 2, those 2 cards might not be the best cards to draw. Like, your banish zone is still live now. Like, you can still utilize those cards thanks to Black Feather Whirlwind. Like, thankfully, thank God. But yeah, because I would honestly say, like, before, I would kind of be funny with the ratios with Allure of Darkness, but I would officially say, like, 3 Allure of Darkness is like a must in this deck. For sure. 3 Allure of Darkness is a must for 100%. 100%. because at that point you can 100% just get your combo rolling that way. Especially now that your banish zone is live. Come on, your banish zone. Come on, this is what we yes. I gotta give it to Konami, man. All I'm saying is, as a Blackwing player myself, I'm pleased. I'm very pleased. All right, let's continue. Okay, this beautiful card. Again, ratio-wise, I would say 2. I wouldn't put this card at 1. I definitely want to see this card in hand. I would put this card at 2 for sure, 100%. So, that's number 1. Next. Okay. So, this card, the Sister of Gildo. This card looks beautiful. This card looks so beautiful. Blackwing Chinook, the Snow Strike. This card looks so beautiful. Okay. You can only use the effect of this card's name once per turn. So you only get is a one-shotter. You can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and send one Blackwing Synchro monster or Blackwing Dragon from your extra deck to the graveyard. If you do, until the end of this turn, the targeted monster loses 700 attack. Also, its effects are negated. This is a quick effect if you control a Dark Synchro monster. Whoa! So we get an effect veiler? We get to build... Target one. Wow. Send one Blackwing Synchro monster from your... Wow. So you're literally saying that we get ourselves a effect veiler with an extra deck cost. That's really not too bad. Again, this is great because I have a friend that plays Heroes. And the reason why this card is amazing to me is like sometimes when I go up against Heroes and I have to deal with the dark... Yeah, this video is going to get edited. There's just a lot of stuff going on, apparently. As soon as I want to talk about some Blackwings, a lot of stuff just be happening. But anyway. So we basically essentially get an effect veiler. Essentially, like the negating part is the best part. And on top of that, another great card, or another great thing about this is just that we get to dump a Blackwing monster, a Synchro monster from extra deck to grave. Like, that's the best thing about this card. But I would say this card is, in my opinion, this card is a bit more live than like L.O.T.D. Like I haven't ran L.O.T.D. in a Blackwing strategy like in years. Like I don't know, like L.O.T.D. just wasn't as good as... L.O.T.D. is a good card. It's a honest for the deck, but I just feel like they were just way more better extenders. Because instead of like damage calculation for the most part, like I went more so for the extension route when it comes to a lot of the decks I built regarding around like Blackwings. All right, so is this the... Nope, there is 3 cards left. So there's 3 cards left. So this card is great. It's a level 2 as well. If I were you guys, honestly, because it's so searchable, I would honestly say like this card, especially it being a quick effect if you have a Dark Synchro monster on board. And the only thing that sucks is it is once per turn. But you got to understand, like, the best way I can see it, I would still run 3 of these, or maybe 2. Or, you know what? Fudge it. I would run 3 of these. Only because, again, they're effect veilers, you know? Like, if this card wasn't once per turn, it would be cracked. But, like, it's an effect veiler that's searchable. Like, come on. Worst case scenario, because it's a level 2, you can probably get out, what's that card called? Herald of the Arclight. You can do Gust the Backblast. And then you can put Chinook. Worst case, I would say put this card at maybe 1. But nah, this card has to be at 2 because it's searchable. It's searchable, plus you can recycle it if you want to. So I would say 2 is great. 3 is not even that bad either if you want to hard draw it. But like, again, 2. Like, this is not going to stop your opponent from hand trapping you to oblivion. But I would definitely say, like, just for turn 2... you can stop a lot of your opponent's like combo starters. In my personal opinion, you can stop a lot of your opponent combo starters. All right, next. Blackwinged Assault Dragon. Okay, Blackwing Dragon finally got its assault mode, which is cool. 1 tuner synchro monster plus 1 non-tuner monster. Okay, it's a level 10 as well. Beautiful level. So now we have more level 10 targets outside of just the level... Well, we have more higher level synchro targets, not just the 12 and the full armor master, now we also have Blackwing Dragon. So must be either special summoned or special summoned by banishing one tuner synchro monster and one Blackwing Dragon from your field or deck, which is great. Again, because a lot of the cards do help you. Could you bring back? Hold on. I'm trying to. This is the card. And you guys got to understand why this is broken, but we're going to talk about it. Like, let me not say broken. Broken is such a throwaway term when it comes to the Yu-Gi-Oh community. I don't think the deck is broken. I think the deck is very powerful now and consistent with it within its own self. But I would 100% say, like, this is so good. All right. So, first things first. So, okay, let's continue reading. So you get 2 ways of summoning this monster. So you don't even have to traditionally summon this monster. You could just special summon it by banishing the required targets, which is not that bad. Plus, remember, Blackwing Dragon is recyclable, so you can recycle it back with Black Feather Whirlwind. I think that's the name of the card. What's it called? Yes, Black Feather Whirlwind. There we go. So let's read the effects. Each time, and it doesn't look like anything is once per turn yet anyway. Each time your opponent activates a monster effect, place 1 Blackwing counter on this card. If you do, inflict 700 damage to them. So basically, you go first. You end on a Blackwing Assault Dragon. Every time your opponent activates a monster effect, they're taking damage. That's amazing. That is amazing. That's 100% amazing. And then, because this card is special summoning itself via summoning condition, I don't believe you can ash this card. Like, you can't ash a summoning condition. I could be wrong about that, but it's not an activated effect in the extra deck. It's a summoning condition. So I don't think you can ash that. So that this is really good. So there's not a lot of hand traps that I would say that can even stop this card from coming out. After it comes out, that's fair game. You can Nibiru it, whatever. But if you Nibiru, you're definitely still going to get 700 points of damage, which makes this card really, really good. Second effect. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you contribute this card with 4 or more Blackwing feather counters, destroy all cards in the field. So the second effect, it's hit miss, but it's still decent. So for the most part, I guess you can say if you end on just this card alone, which I would argue you honestly don't have to just end on this. You can end on way more, the way how this deck sounds like it could potentially be. You can end on way more. If anything, I would say, like, if you're in a situation where you're just damn near stuck, like you can't do anything, you can definitely 100% just utilize this as like a Black Rose Dragon, blow up the board, and then just get rid of your opponent's like field, because it destroys all cards, you know. So I can definitely say, like, going second with Blackwings is viable now. Like let's say if you're in locals, online match and stuff like that, your opponent sets up a crazy board, you can still go second. No, you can't. You can't go second still, because of the way how this effect is worded. Like, you would have to load this card up with so many black feather counters. You would have to load this card up with so many black feather counters. Because it would have been different if it said, like, I'm curious. Can Armor Master or Blackwing Dragon give counters though? The second effect is 100% iffy, because now I'm rethinking its viability. Because at this point, I guess you can only go first. But the issue with this card is, I guess the good thing about this card, the only good thing about this card is you have to tribute it for cost. So your opponent won't be able to. It won't. Okay, I take it back. Yes, this card is actually decent. You can go turn 1 with this. So you can end on just this if you're getting repeatedly hand trapped. Yes, you can go turn 1 with this, because basically what you can do, if your whole board, or you cannot solidify any type of board state at all, basically what you can do, end on this. Even if they imperm you even if they Dark Ruler no more or Forbidden Droplet you, this card escapes all of that because it tributes itself for cost, which is amazing, amazing, amazing. And then you could blow up the board, which is great. So this card is actually pretty cracked. On top of it being recyclable throughout all the different Blackwing cards, like, come on, like, this card is definitely, definitely cracked. All right. I would argue that 1 is good, but if you run 2, it's understandable, but I would say 1. 1 is the safest ratio bet. 100%. 1 is the safest ratio bet. All right, next card. Okay, this one is not a tuner. It's a regular monster. It's a level 4, so we always love that. But let me go through it properly. Blackwing Sathiri. Ooh, Sathiri. I like the way I'm saying the name, so I'm just gonna call it Sathiri. The Illusionary Spark. So it's a level 4 Darkwing Beast effect monster. It's not a tuner, regular monster. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. Okay, so you only can use the second effect of this card once per turn. Cool. When this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 card that mentions Blackwing Dragon from your deck to your hand, except Black Whirlwind Sathuri, the Illusionary Spark. Illusionary? Am I saying that wrong? Illusory Spark? Okay. Again, reading skills aside, I would definitely say like this card is definitely good. It's a decent normal summon. It's not the worst normal summon in the world, but it's definitely not. This card is probably my most because if it could special summon itself, that would be a little bit better. But like my thing is, this card isn't really a good okay. I just said it was all right normal summon. Now I'm saying it's not a good normal summon. So situationally speaking, right? This card gets you any card, all the cards that we mentioned before. So this card gets you all of these. So this card gets you, not him obviously, but not you obviously. So yes. So that card helps you search out Chamal. That card helps you search out the counter trap. That card helps you search, not the synchro. This card helps you search out the level 2 connive, and that card obviously helps you search out Black Feather Whirlwind. So this card helps you search out all those other cards, but like I said, it's not really needed at all, but it is what it is. And then the secondary effect, you contribute 1 monster. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except for synchro monsters. Also special summon 1 illusionary or illusory spark token. It's a winged beast, it's a tuner, it's dark, it's level 2, and you take 700 damage. Like, so like I said, like this card isn't the best card. It does searches out a lot of the newer cards for sure. Yes. Oh, it doesn't help you search out Zonda. So it helps you search out Black Feather Whirlwind. It helps you search out Connive. It helps you search out the counter trap. And it also helps you search out another card that gets you Black Feather Whirlwind. But my thing is this card stackable like Black Whirlwind once per turn? If you special summon a Dark Synchro monster from the extra deck, you can target one of your Blackwing monsters or once per. Nah, yeah, these are once per turn. But this is this a soft once per turn though? Because they're not specifying card name, right? Because I'm interested, because if I activate this card, right, and I have 2 copies of it, I have to test that out. Like, if you guys know, definitely let me know. But this is definitely interesting. Is this a soft once per turn? Because a hard once per turn would be like Black Feather Whirlwind. When you activate the effect, you can only activate the effect of Black Feather Whirlwind once per turn. So if you had multiple copies of this card, it wouldn't matter because you can only activate this card effect once per turn per card name. Hard once per turn. But if it's a soft once per turn, this card is actually not the worst card in the world, because you can essentially get out 2 of these, and then you can abuse both of them in sequence. But we will have to see. But all in all, this card isn't bad. But this card is getting Zephyros territory. Like, I would only see myself playing 1. Like, I really don't want to really see this early game at all. Like, this card is not an early game card. I can see this card being at 1. Only because it's just like, yes, it does searches you out any other the filler, but I really don't want to see this card at all. The only reason I'll say 1 as well too, of course you still need your Blackwing fodders, like well, not fodders, goated, but you still need your Chris, you still need your Bora, you still need your Gales, and those are just free special summons. With this, I don't think that's bad at all, because you can normal summon this, you can get yourself your whirlwind or your Black Feather whirlwind, and then you could just combo just like that. The only issue of this card is, which one? Yes, for the rest of the turn. So you have to time this card. So if you play this, and that's another reason I say 1 is perfect, because you can still, obviously, if you Gale, if you Chris, if you Blizzard, you can Exceed, you can Link, whatever build of the deck that you plan on building, you can still do all those things. But as soon as you play this card, you're locked into synchros, which is great. Like, if it says you can only synchro summon synchro monsters, that would have sucked. This card would have kind of, I wouldn't have put this card in any deck. But because of the way how it's worded, the card is actually pretty decent. So, but I would still only put 1 of this in deck though. All right. So guys, we are here. Last card. Last card. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. If you control 2 or more Blackwing monsters, you can activate this card from your hand. That's amazing. So you can only activate 1 card with this card's name. So this is a hard once per turn, like I was saying. You only can activate this card name once per turn, right? So you only can activate 1 of these. You can, if you control 2 or more Blackwing monsters, you can activate this card from hand. So this card is essentially a hand trap. Twin Shadow. It's a normal trap as well. So that's amazing. Return 2 of your Blackwing monsters that are banished and / or in the graveyard to the deck and / or extra deck, right? 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner, right? Amazing. Special summon 1 Blackwing Synchro monster or Blackwing dragon from your extra deck whose level equals the total level of those monsters. This is treated as a synchro summon, not a special summon. So you still get effects like, oh, this doesn't matter. Must either be synchro summon or okay, so you can even still get out your Blackwing dragon with this. And this card is great. Is it only good for Blackwing strategies? Yeah, of course. But the thing that makes it good is more so just like, if you do get Nibiru'd, you are good. Like, oh my god. Like, you can really do some cracked stuff, man. You can really do some cracked stuff with this. Like, it's so good. Like, it's so ridiculously good. Now for the thing in the room, right? Like, I would argue this card can be at 2. This card can definitely be at 2. It's one of those cards where, like, you really don't want to see it opening hand. Or maybe you do. Maybe this card, I would say, like, this is definitely a 3 of, maybe. Or why not? Like, this could definitely, because remember, it's a hand trap, right? So can't you activate this card on your opponent's turn as well? Nah, this card is too good. I'm sorry, this card is way too good. This card is way too good. This is the card that essentially tells you can activate, I believe you can activate this on your opponent's turn. Yes, it's a Blackwing monster, but what would it matter if you end on a Blackwing Assault Dragon, or if you end on Blackwing Dragon and you're just giving your opponents tokens based off of, like, effect damage that they're taking and stuff like that, which again makes this card good, because now that, like, now that you're running Blackwinged Dragon, it even makes cards like Decay good. Decay is a good card now, because if you take 1,000 damage, like, you know, all of that's just going to get soaked up by the Blackwing Dragon. So this card, I would say 3 is probably fine. You can definitely run 3 of this, and it will be very advantageous for you. Like, very, very advantageous. So all in all, I love it. I love it so, so much. I think we've gotten amazing cards for the Blackwing strategy. Like, amazing, amazing cards. Like, my jaw has dropped. Guys, I know I was just breaking down these cards from the top of my head, but don't worry. There is a part 2 of this video coming out. Like, I'm definitely going to do a deeper dive of this with current cards that we do have access to. And I'm basically going to have it similar to this. This will 100% be up, as well as like me showcasing other cards and synergy based cards that you can potentially put it together in the deck. And then I'm definitely going to be building a deck around this in part 2. Don't worry, I know a lot of the dueling simulators may not have these cards up as of yet, but I'll still just try my best to piece together a deck that I think that will that'll be the most competitive and quote unquote meta impactful deck. I'm not gonna say meta defining because I don't think this deck is at that caliber as of yet, because even with some of the cards I'm reading, it doesn't seem like you can do anything too outrageously crazy with a lot of this stuff. It just makes the Blackwing strategy viable. Like, it makes it playable. Like, you can actually play this. So my thing is just like, I'm really, really excited. I'm really, really happy. I'm more so happy to see if I can break this in any type of way and make it super competitive, super competitive. But yeah, guys, that's it for me. So guys, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what are some of your favorite cards. Let me know if you agree or disagree with a lot of the stuff I said, because of course, you know, like, my opinion is my opinion based off of the Blackwing strategies and decks that I particularly and personally play. But for the most part, like, you guys can have your own different opinions about like what do you personally believe would be the best cards to utilize in the deck, the ratio of those cards, which cards are more effective than others. But again, that's all a matter of opinion, and I'm more than happy to take, you know, a criticism, along with I'm more than happy to hear some opinions and stuff like that. You guys please take care. You guys definitely have yourselves a good one. Stay awesome. I hope you appreciate the extra video, and peace. Go Blackwings!